navigators to navigate with us. What episode is this? I'm losing track now.
I think we're on episode 4.
Episode 4.
Tell ya, commitment. That's what we show.
That is what we show. And I tell you, we've got a heck of a show for you today. We are going to be talking about probably a nightmare scenario for Colleen. I think, Colleen, do you have nightmares about what we were talking about today?
I do. In fact, it actually, I would say maybe would stifle some of my dreams of traveling abroad. So, I'll have to dig deep into it. But yeah, I think we've got a few things to talk about. We've got some disability travel nightmare stories. We've got some disability travel news, which is positive. And then a little princess talk. Little princess talk today. Yeah. So again, thanks for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm Nate, and this is... I am Colleen.
That's Colleen. And we're known as Navigate with Colleen and Nate, and this is our podcast, Navigate with Us. So we're going to get going here, but just a quick reminder quick plug for NYW Travel, nywtravel.com. That is our travel agency. So if you want to book your next cruise, you can head on over there. We deal with all the major cruise lines, and we'll help you plan your dream vacation. And that also helps fund the channel here. So that is my shameless plug. And now let's, and I think the last thing we have, one more thing before we get into the agenda. The last agenda item today is the kerfuffle with, I don't know if it's a kerfuffle or not, but Princess Cruise Lines back in the headlines, and cruisers not happy. So we'll get into that today. So Colleen, why don't you kick us off?
All right. So I actually came across this Facebook post earlier this week, and
wait, is this about lizard people again? Because that short did really well. I think we're almost to 4,000 views on that short.
Yeah, no lizard people. This one's a little bit different. This one's a little it's a little eye-opening of where we are as a society still with people with disabilities and travel. So let me read a little bit from the post directly so that I don't...
All right, I'll try not to interrupt too much.
Ruin anything, as you do so often. So this is from Jill Moore White. So she wrote, "Today we were denied entry onto our flight home because we didn't have an able-bodied chaperone. Chandler and I got to the Barcelona airport plenty early for our trip home, connecting through Amsterdam on a KLM Royal Dutch Airlines flight." So she writes, "When we got to the KLM counter for check-in, the gate agent said something was very wrong. He was frantically on the phone, 2 phones at once, even working very hard on something we didn't understand. Come to find out, the KLM headquarters refused to let us on our flight because we didn't have an able-bodied chaperone flying with us."
Wait, so you get to the gate and they're like, I don't know how old this person, let's assume they're just in their mid-30s or maybe 40s. And they're like, "Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, ma'am. Do you have a chaperone with you?"
Well,
what the actual...
I don't need to necessarily read much more, but I will just say that, the fact that they flew from the States, they got to Spain, they traveled all around Spain.
Who let them? Which airline did they fly there with?
It does not say, but I'm assuming if they were flying home KLM, that they probably also flew there on KLM.
Be. Yeah, I mean, they're part of one of those alliance networks, so you never know. You could take over an American plane. That's happened to me way back in the day. You fly an American airline one way and then a European airline on the way back.
But essentially, they were not going to let them board their plane home. So they had done all this traveling around Spain independently as 2 wheelchair users. They were...
which actually, we've been talking about Spain. So that's actually good for Spain. I mean, we've heard a lot about accessibility in Spain.
Except we're not flying KLM, clearly.
Definitely not flying KLM. Well, I am able-bodied. So
True.
I could be your chaperone.
I guess you could be my chaperone.
I will be your chaperone, and you can be my lost pal.
So guess who came to the rescue, though, in this situation?
Was it a cruise ship? Did they have to take a cruise ship home?
No, that wouldn't have been a bad idea, though, if they weren't in too much of a rush. But no, Delta Airlines. It sounds like...
Wait. Are you saying Delta Airlines did something good? No, I don't know. I don't hear a lot about Delta in the news, actually. It's a lot.
And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But no, Delta Airlines, and it looks like two agents basically coordinated. And I have to read this. It actually got me a little choked up, but it says the Delta Airlines agents here were actual angels. They had a team of people sorting out how we get home, accessible cars and hotels, business class lounges, meals, the works. Pretty sure they would have built us a boat by hand to cross the Atlantic if there was spare lumber nearby.
That's really nice. That's the thing is like, everyone really, gets down on like the airlines and the staff there. But I think at the end of the day, it's just people, right? It's just people trying to help people.
Absolutely. And I mean, way to end your vacation with just that nightmare situation of, oh my God, we can't get home. We can't get on our plane. So good for Delta for like stepping up and making it possible. But it was just very eye-opening that in this day and age, and I don't know if it's a difference between living in the U.S. versus living in Europe, and in the U.S.
Well, yeah, Europe's. I mean, except for like what we've heard about Barcelona. I mean, I've been to Europe a couple times. Like it was a while ago, but I mean, it's like hard. I mean, it would be hard to get around a lot of places.
Well,
in Europe.
but outside of the architectural limitations, the mindset limitations of someone in a Barcelona airport saying, nope, sorry, we can't make it happen. And it did sound like the KLM agent really was like horrified with the situation and wanted to make it right. But he just couldn't break the policy, which was they need a chaperone.
The policy. What a dumb policy. I mean, seriously, though, if these people have, again, not to get into too much detail, but there's a lot of things you got to think about, especially when it comes to like bodily fluid function things, right? When you're flying, right? Because those lavatories aren't accessible at all. I mean, we found some on Virgin that can be converted, but I'm sure they've figured that all type of out. So like they obviously knew what they were doing and didn't need to have, any type of assistance.
Right. Or, and again, they may like physically need a wheelchair to be mobile, but they may have some ability to, stand for a moment, pivot, whatever that may be. They may not be fully, reliant upon the wheelchair. So either way, I am glad that Delta stepped up and got them home. But I think your bodily fluids comment has now transitioned to our next segment perfectly well.
Yeah. But again, I'm glad those folks made it home safe. And again, just shows though we've done planning before. I mean, that's the thing. People don't realize that when you have a disability, a physical disability, especially like the amount of planning that has to go in. And like, I was trying to actually convince Colleen this morning to do like a last minute Alaska cruise.
That's how Nate operates. Nate's just like, we can squeeze it in. I know we can get it. It'll be like 5 days off from work and we'll fly in and then like we'll get off the ship in Vancouver and fly out. And I'm like, and I'm going to get home at 2 a.m. and get like 3 hours of sleep and get up and go to work.
Productive at work.
I don't operate like that, Nate. You know that.
I know that. All right. So what do we have up next?
All right. So again, continue on with the bodily fluids. So this is actually really exciting. This was news that broke this week. It was actually the 33rd anniversary of when ADA was enacted. So again, Americans with Disability Act.
Yeah, which again, most people think that other countries would have something similar, but like, I don't even think Canada has anything.
I do not believe there are like a set standard.
Yeah, let us know down in the details if you're listening from another country, do you have any type of standards or like ADA type of standards in your country? If so, we'd love to hear about them because we'd love to maybe plan a trip there.
Absolutely. So 33 years ago, ADA was enacted, and this particular legislation was put forward, and Pete Buttigieg, our transportation secretary.
I have such a hard time with his last name.
I know. I think I did justice.
I think you did okay. I'm not even going to try because I'm just going to butcher it. Buttigieg.
Anyways, our lovely Secretary of Transportation this week announced that single aisle airplanes that are produced in the next 10 years and basically put into service within 12 years will all have accessible lavatories. So that means for
That's
Nate and
nice.
I, a simple trip from Florida to California will not necessarily require a layover in Dallas.
Yeah, because that was going to be that's the whole thing is there's actually, believe it or not, from, Fort Myers International Airport. It's like it has one international flight and it has a couple from Germany, a lot of expats from Germany that come in summer or winter here in Florida. But yeah, I mean, you have to basically figure out the flight. You got to figure out, essentially the only reason we're stopping is for a restroom.
That is it. That is it. And we have to even be specific about how long we are laid over for.
Yep.
So we're
always last off.
Yep, and first on. So granted, everyone runs off the plane, so it's usually within 20 minutes or so.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes you get those people that are just kind of sitting there and they'll like, or they like think they're being nice and like trying to let us off first. We're like, no, literally, we can't get off the plane until you get off.
Exactly.
Like you need to get off the plane.
Exactly. I think there's only been one scenario where we were the last on. And I'll tell you, it's a little uncomfortable feeling when everyone is sitting in their airplane seat. And here you come down in your little skinny aisle chair. And I swear it's built for like a 10-year-old, not someone that has like hips or, is just built
Shakira.
Exactly. Like built like Shakira. And, and you're getting like, you have it's just very embarrassing. You get pulled down the aisle. You have no like ability to help or aid. You're strapped in with seat belts and you're doing this in front of everyone. And then everyone's staring at you. And then you've got to transfer into your seat on the airplane. So yeah, we basically allow for 3-hour layovers so that we have time to...
Yeah, I mean, I think 2 is usually fine too, but...
Well, I mean, if you've got to change concourses...
That's true, yeah.
I mean, think about how big Dallas is.
That's true.
If you've got to take that, like, metro train...
Was it Dallas where we had to board last? Was it... I feel like it was a trip with a connection once somewhere.
It was.
I remember... It was a tight connection. I think that's why.
Yes. And I think, and especially how... flights are delayed now with weather or just mechanical issues and whatnot. So having that alleviated from travel will be phenomenal. Granted, we're talking 12 years from now, but I guess what the big kind of excitement of this announcement was they originally were not going to be doing these modifications to the plane for 20 years. And advocacy groups stepped up and basically said, you're going to have an entire generation of disabled passengers that are limited from traveling because they can't use the restroom.
Yeah, and I get airlines need to make more money and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's like we're not asking for a lot, right? We're just literally asking for to make that lavatory a little bit bigger. And I think that some people are going to be like, well, we have to, then everyone's going to have to pay. Okay, I'm sorry, everyone's going to have to pay $15 or $20 more on their flight. I apologize right now, but we would just like to be able to take more nonstop. And I think that would really open up the world to people, especially wheelchair users. I mean, people do travel around the world now, but again, look back to the Barcelona couple. You have to plan and I'm sure, they talked about lounges and stuff, so I'm sure there were some stops somewhere. I mean, there were connections and everything, and it's just a nightmare. I would love to be able to just hop on a long-haul flight out of Miami and go to London or to go to Barcelona in one stop and not have to, be stopping in Iceland.
Although I think you do want to go to Iceland.
I do want to go. Nothing against Iceland. Yeah, but if I'm not specifically going to Iceland on a trip,
you don't necessarily want to go visit the airport.
Yeah, and I think that's what we've decided we'd have to do, right? We'd have to, to get to Europe, we'd have to literally fly north somewhere.
Yep.
So that means like Washington or New York or Boston.
Right.
And then connect in Boston or New York and then head across there because and even that's going to be pushing it. Like we really do need one of those planes that has Virgin looks like the best option right now, but again, to your point, what if the plane that you thought you were going to be flying on isn't the plane that you're flying on?
Exactly. So if we can have some standardization with all airplanes having a bathroom that's accessible. And I'm gonna challenge the Department of Transportation and the airline industry to even think bigger. Like, let's make the entrance into the aircraft a little bit wider. Let's make that turn when you turn from, the galley area into the aisle where the seats are. Make that a little bit wider so that you don't have to transfer to an aisle wheelchair, risk someone that's like not necessarily like used to doing this, like bringing you up over thresholds, bringing you down an aisle, potentially tipping you over, to be able to stay in your wheelchair and then keep your wheelchair on board so that, again, that doesn't risk being handled by someone that's inexperienced and potentially broken.
Well, that's the other thing we've heard too, right? The nightmare stories. There was someone famously that's had their like wheelchair. I think they were a para-athlete, right? And
they were. I believe it was a tennis athlete.
Yeah, and like multiple times have had their chair basically damaged.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, like we have never had that happen. Actually, this is wood over here. I'll knock over there. But
like,
you
think about how many like sets of tools we carry, Nate. I mean, this
yeah, I'm surprised
athlete,
TSA lets me on the plane. Like, hey, excuse me, sir, why do you have those Allen wrenches?
But this athlete had to go find a welder in a foreign country. I want to say it was Europe, to actually like weld and replace. I think his caster had like snapped, basically.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So just to avoid, let's just keep it simple, make it a little bit wider. Then, I got to use the restroom. I hop back in my wheelchair on the plane.
Yeah.
Wheel into the bathroom. I mean, it's such a crazy concept.
I know.
And you think about the airplanes even now, they have the handicap symbol on the door. And I'm like, how? How is that? I mean, yay for ADA. Can you imagine what flying in airplanes was like prior to 33 years ago?
Oh my gosh. I didn't want to. Well, first of all, if you remember, I remember as a kid growing up, there was the smoking and non-smoking section. And like, I mean, I have a little bit of asthma that usually it's caused by like sickness, but I'm pretty sure nowadays if I were to hop on a plane that was basically filled with smoke, I don't think I would make it.
No.
I think they would find, I feel like I have to bring like 5 inhalers with me.
Oh my God. And can you imagine they probably had cigar smokers and pipe smokers? I mean.
Yeah, it was everything.
Ugh.
But the I guess the upside was you get a meal, the seats were wider, people weren't having breakdowns and seeing lizard people. So, I mean, I think there were sacrifices that had to be.
That's true. I think 33 plus years ago, I think traveling by plane was definitely a luxury item. And I think it was not available to everyone. So,
nope. But you know what is available to everyone?
What?
Cruising.
Woohoo!
And speaking of breakdowns, people are starting to have a breakdown. So have you heard the news about Princess?
I have.
You have? I
have. Just because, we are well informed at this household on all things cruising.
Well, if you are not keeping up with the cruise news, let me break it down for you. So for a while now, Princess I think it was last year, they introduced something called Princess Plus and Princess Premier. And just like any product, they're always tweaking it. And I'll be honest with you, I really do think Princess thought they were, well, and again, I'm not even going to pass judgment on this. I'm just going to kind of talk about the people reacting, because I personally don't see the big deal. And maybe that's going to make some folks that are big Princess fans really angry. If you are an angry Princess fan, please let me know down in the comments. We'd love to get your thoughts on this. But the long and the short of it is the Princess Plus and Princess Premier. They're like about add-ons. Like every cruise ship now has add-ons.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, tell me about what Princess is doing.
All right. So basically, this is like their upgrade program where, they have 2 different levels. One is includes they both include beverage packages, right? So that's not that weird, right? Nowadays, people, and I thought the Princess Plus, it's $60 per day, and the Princess Premier is $80, but you get you get prepaid gratuities, you get Wi-Fi, And then if you're paying a little bit more, like you get nicer drinks and you get like more Wi-Fi options. And then they throw a whole bunch of other stuff. Oh, the crew appreciation, which is the gratuities, right? So, some of this stuff, like on certain, it depends on the cruise line, but a lot of cruise lines, like, Wi-Fi alone, they're charging like $20 a day.
Right.
Right. And those gratuities are going to be like $15 a day. So the way I look at it, at like $60, you're already like almost halfway there.
Right. Yep.
But that is not what the kerfuffle is about. So I think people were okay with that. The kerfuffle comes is there's a couple things that Princess has been now known for. So on the medallion class ships, are you familiar with the medallion class ships?
I am. I like the little like actual medallion you get to open your door with and charge things to. It looks like a nice piece of jewelry.
Yeah, it's like the future.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is too is it's very unique because it's not just like Wi-Fi. I mean, it's like it's near field communications, but they like on some of the newer ships, they actually built them like with sensors everywhere, like thousands and thousands of sensors. So literally, which I mean, I don't know if that's kind of creepy, but like when you're on board, Princess knows where you're at, right? So they have this Ocean Now app, and the thing is like you could be anywhere on the ship, and like let's say you're like, hey man, I want like a cheeseburger.
And I'm like hanging out by the pool or in my secret like sun location.
Yes, and that secret look, or you're in that lounger and you see the lounger hawks circling around you.
You're like not giving it up.
Yeah, they're like the moment you get up, they're just going to take all your stuff and be like, no, it was the attendant that took it away. Anyways, I don't know if they're like that on Princess, but essentially that is going away unless you get the Princess Plus or Princess Premier. Now, the rub is that you can still use the Ocean Now, function, but it's going to cost you $15, not per time, but just one time. So the first time you use it, you'll be charged $15. Now, here's the other kicker too. So look, I'll ask you a question. Do you think that's for both people traveling, or do you think that's just for one person?
I'm going to say it's $15 per person.
You would be correct. And if you were on a back-to-back, right? So Princess does a lot of these back-to-backs.
Don't say it, Nate. Do
you think that's per voyage? Per kind of like, broken up voyage there, or is it just a one-time fee? What do you think?
Sadly, I think it's going to be for each leg of the trip.
Each leg of the trip. Yep. So if you're doing a trip where you circle back to Fort Lauderdale, you're doing one of those 14 days, but it's technically a back-to-back, you are going to pay $15 or $14.99 if we want to be. They're like Walmart. They should have made it $14.97 and nobody would have complained.
It's just crazy though. So $30 for like a 7-day vacation.
Well, I mean, I guess like unless one of you is just going to do all the ordering, but that kind of, but if you're at the spa and I'm at the pool deck and you were the one that ordered the first time and now it's like, well, I guess I got to wait for Colleen to show back up and I'm going to, or am I just going to suck it up and pay you're probably just going to pay the $15.
Right.
You're going to pay.
I know. And it's like, oh, well, it's only $15, but yet it's only $15.
Yeah,
Why
I think on that one,
charge you again.
I don't know, but I'm sure there's a couple reasons, right? I started thinking this through. I'm like, well, why not just build it into the base fare? But then I started thinking this through because I'm like, there's got to be more than that, right? Because that would be the easy thing, right? There's additional staff, additional costs, right? That's simple. To me, that would be the simplest thing from a business perspective. You just bake it in, and nobody knows, right?
Right.
And everyone's like, oh, cruise fares going up, inflation, yada yada. But I think it's really probably even to control more cost than just that, right? Because think about it. So one of the reasons, Virgin Voyages, right?
Of course.
So Virgin Voyages has no buffets. That's
true.
Do you know why they have no buffets?
Because.
Well, why? I'll ask you why. Why do you think they say they have no buffets?
The stigmatism of people touching food tongs in the buffet.
So that is. I will tell you, if you are a person, you do not wash your hands before going in that buffet. I may not have a lot of money, but I have a special set of skills, and I will find you. No, what do you think the real reason is?
Yeah, again, maybe just the staff required to like maintain the buffet.
It's the waste. It's the waste. Now they say it's for environmental reasons, and I can buy that, but let's
Yeah.
be honest, it's a cost saver
Yep.
too. So I'm going to apply this same logic now to the ocean now, and if I can order food anywhere, anytime, without having to take any type of initiative to go get it, and I'm not paying anything more for it, then I don't feel so bad when you bring me that plate of food and I eat one fry off that cheeseburger and fry plate. And then I just, we've seen this on cruise ships, right?
Of course.
Right.
It's disturbing.
Yeah, the whole plate of food there. It's a cost thing, right? And so I think this just adds that little barrier, a little bit barrier of entry.
Yep.
And then if you want it, you'll pay for it, and that will offset some of those wasted costs. That's my hypothesis, though. This is not verified, but I was trying to think this through fully.
I think you're dead on.
Yeah. But wait, there's more.
There's more charges?
Well, yeah. So now room service, if you don't have the ocean now, so if you just do what they call the standard fare, which is just the base fare, right?
Yep.
You just get on the ship. You still got some complimentary dining, but it'll be $5 a pop.
Ooh.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, every cruise line I feel like is doing that.
Yeah. But is that like $5 for a fruit plate and like,
Yeah,
a pastry, or are you
they have
getting like the
they
American?
still have the complimentary, they still have like the complimentary breakfast thing, like the continental breakfast, and I guess that's still free, right? You get the little door hanger thing.
Yes.
Hanging on your door. Make sure it's out there by 4 p.m. at night or in the morning, or no Danish for you. So that's now going to be $5 a pop. But they threw in, and I really do think Princess thought, like, hey, people are going to be like really excited about this, right? They're going to be like, wow, we're getting a great value. So they have a bunch of kind of, I don't know, fast casual type of restaurants, more casual places. And I guess these have always been kind of a la carte options, right? So, you pay, it's like a pub, you go into like a pub or something, and it's like, pub fries, $4, $3, kind of like, Playmakers on Royal,
Right.
A la carte. A lot of ships have a la carte, dining. So they thought so let me ask you, if you got the plus package and they put in 2 of those for free, and if you did the unlimited or the premier package, you got unlimited, like, wouldn't you think that's a good thing?
Yeah.
You would. But guess what?
The Princess fans are not fans.
Yeah, so there's one dining venue, Alfredo's, and I think it goes by another name on other ships. It's the Italian dining. I guess that's always been included.
Okay.
Do you think it's still included?
Based on the uproar, I'm going to go no.
No, it is not included anymore. It's now part of this kind of a la carte, fast dining, fast casual type of dining things. And people are upset because I guess that's where the best pizza at sea resides.
I've heard about the best pizza on Princess. I think it like rivals with MSC, but yeah, so now you've got to actually pay for the pizza.
If you want the best pizza at sea, you're going to pay for the pizza at sea. Now, I'm going to go through, I'm just going to read some of the, this is under the, this is called the Princess Cruises Passenger Complaint Forum.
Oh, wow. There's a dedicated forum for people to vent?
Yeah, I had been off Facebook for about a decade, but with launching, NYW Travel, I was like, okay, I got to get back on Facebook. A lot of people on there, got to get the word out. But there was a reason I got off Facebook. So anyways, I'll just read what the person who posted this. This is a press release from Princess regarding the changes. My complaint is that some of you on here are not knowing what you're complaining about. And some of you here are rehashing the same stuff because you haven't read any of the other posts and think you are telling us something that hasn't already been talked about. Let's all get on the same page and complain.
Wow. Unification for complaining.
That's right. Princess passengers unite. And let's go. I'm not going to read names here because you can go search this yourself. But someone wrote, all of this is just pure horse manure on the Princess part. Many elite cruisers have spent a lot of money to become elite, to obtain those benefits, and now you're taking those benefits away. What do you think about that?
The horror.
I know.
God. if you really want pizza, pay the $20 or $10.
It's pizza.
I know.
I mean, I know people love pizza. I love pizza, but we made some homemade pizza last night.
I'll say it was the bomb. Forget getting takeout pizza ever again.
Yeah, we did the shout out to, what is it, Pillsbury? Pillsbury dough. The dough boy knows what he's talking about. All right.
We diverge.
Yeah, so let's see. We got some other ones. Oh, here's another one. It's especially egregious when you booked and paid for a cruise many months ago with the expectation of free room service, free Alfredos, etc. And now they're going to charge you for those things. PCL should have announced this and started with cruises booked after a certain date. Well, they actually are doing that. But it's just like it's August, basically. Like they're rolling it out fleet-wide, ship by ship throughout August, and then there's like one random ship in the end of September that's getting it. Say August 1st and allow those who already booked to pay what they get for. And then it's someone else.
Just like, here's a crazy concept. Like, if that's going to break the bank for you, don't get it. Don't get the $5 room service. Don't go get pizza. You're going on a week vacation, most likely. Just enjoy what is complimentary if that's going to break the bank.
Well, yeah. And I think, though, there's actually some cruise lines out there that are, doing a lot of the complimentary stuff. I mean, I personally, I don't like the nickel and diming. I like the all-inclusive.
Yeah.
To me, it's just simple. Like, this is the price I pay. This is the price I get. You know exactly what you're going to get. I don't know. Do you have a different take on that?
I think I don't know. Like I kind of go back and forth. Like, I like the royal concept a little bit, where you start at your base fare and then you can essentially make it as luxurious as you want or keep it as like entry level as you want. So yeah. I do like the freedom there, but then going on Celebrity, I liked that like we walked away and we didn't get any bills. Like it was, we went on and what we had paid is everything we were going to get.
Well, so to that point, someone wrote, just don't book those Premier and Plus packages. Maybe if everyone doesn't, they will go away. So now we're calling for boycotts, I guess. I have never upgraded to any of that. And I have over 16 cruises just on Princess. We have tried the pay options for extra restaurants once in a long time ago when they first brought them out, but that was it. We've always had great food in the MDR, which stands for main dining room. If you're not in the cruise lingo, or buffets. Sometimes we just ate at the pool and never went to dinner.
Ooh.
Unless you have to drink that much every day, it's way cheaper just to have a drink with dinner. And when you want to pay for it, we used to just get the soda package for my husband. So I'm not sure if that's still available. I think that is, I don't know if that's zero. I think there is a zero proof package that's still available. I have to double check that. But
yeah, but exactly just that. Like you can go in base fare, pay what you want, or add on those premium items if you really want them.
Yeah. So I'm just looking here.
The horror. No pizza.
Oh, and now we're calling for letter writing. Instead of complaining on social media to everyone that will agree and complain, write a letter to the corporate office via snail mail.
Does it actually say snail mail?
Yes, via snail mail. If they get thousands of letters every day, they might rethink. Yes, we're going to. Okay, so now we're going to go attack the poor mailroom people at Princess Cruise Lines. Like, you're just sitting there. It's probably like, there's not that much mail anymore. So it's probably like two people working in the mailroom, and all of a sudden, like, a big United States Postal Service truck pulls up, like a big one, like a 16-wheeler.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, what do you get in there?" And they're like, "This whole truck is filled with letters for you."
Happy reading. God. I mean, I get it. I these people have been probably sailing with Princess for decades, and any little bit of change, I think, is just. This day and age, people just don't want it. They're like, I know what I know. I like what I like. Don't mess around, Princess.
Yeah, and I guess this is like I was in a forum, and I had just mentioned, when we were listening to this announcement, I was like, a lot of cruise lines do that now, like, Royal, and someone wrote, "Don't compare apples to oranges." I was like,
"Oh, you got snapped at for that?"
I got snapped back at. I was like, "Geez Louise, sorry." So that's it. So what's everyone's thoughts? I Are you with the? Are you gonna? Does it pay to? That's their thing. Is it pay to plus? Wait, I gotta get the thing. It pays to plus. Does it pay to plus? Do you think? Are you gonna upgrade on the next Princess package, or are you gonna say, to heck with it, and I'm just gonna eat at the poolside cafe for all my meals?
Hey, each to their own and how they want to enjoy their vacation, right?
That's right. And it is your vacation. And again, I think that's going to do it for us today. So we appreciate you stopping on by. If you like this podcast, please subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on another platform like Spotify, please give us 5 stars and share it with your friends and your family. Take us on the go. Again, check out NYW Travel. We can help book your travel. Go to Navigate Merch. Actually, we didn't even talk about the merch today, but I got a new shirt on here. You can go check that out. And again, do all the things. Smash like, subscribe. And as always, navigate your world.